Hello and welcome, my horse centipede hybrids. How you doing, Dan? It's wonderful day. It's Super John Bombo here, and today we've got the top 5 hero video coming at your face. So today what we're going to discuss is the top 5 heroes in Bloons Tower Defense 6 and talk about why I'm ranking them the way that I am. To start off here, let's show off the heroes. Quincy is the first hero in our list, and what he is he's a bow hero. So what he can do is he can, shoot his bow out, and what's great about him is that if you have balloons next to each other, his bow will actually curve and hit the other balloons next to him, which is absolutely wonderful. Of course, he is a free hero in the game, so you don't have to buy him, but he can still be incorporated in our list here. His 2 abilities are to use the super fast shooting bow upgrade here, which makes him shoot extremely quick, and when he gets to explosive arrows, it ends up being quite powerful. His other ability is to rain arrows down upon the balloons and sort of destroy all of them in that area. Fantastic against low-level balloons and decent against medium to high-level balloons. Gwendolyn is the next hero in our list, and what she does is shoot fire. And her fire is quite powerful, but she definitely has some limitations with her range. Her abilities are quite fantastic, in fact, some of the best in the game. When you use the Molotov cocktail here, you can throw this down, and you can burn through a lot of balloons. Like, a lot of balloons. You can't even see it with this balloon right here, but it is quite fantastic. Of course, she shoots down a straight line, and one thing you're going to notice is she can actually shoot all the way through to the end of the screen, basically. So, you're never going to run out of that. If you end up putting her in the right spot, she could end up being very, very powerful. Her second ability is also to use a keg blast, which basically burns all the balloons on the screen. Very good against low-level balloons, ceramics, and below, but against mobs and such, it isn't quite as powerful. Striker Jones is the third free hero in our list, and what he does is shoot out giant missiles. They're explosive damage, but they end up not being quite as powerful as you might imagine. What he ends up being more of a support tower because he ends up powering up all cannons and mortars on the screen. Quite ridiculous. His abilities are also quite nice. He can end up stunning balloons for a reasonable amount of time here, all the way up into Moabs and even higher than that. And he can use an extra ability here, which gives back every single cannon's ability back into existence. So, for example, we send out a bad balloon here. We could end up using a Mob Eliminator, use this, and we can get it back and use it right away. But that ends up being quite a bit of extra damage here for all of our abilities on the screen. Obyn is the 4th hero in our list, and he's honestly one of the most wonderful heroes in the game. He's just kind of fun. Alright, what he does is he shoots out sort of a foxy blue, fiery, flamey-looking nature beacon thingamabob. I don't really know what it's called, but it shoots out damage. And what he does, he's very cool. He actually does damage to balloons instead of just regular popping power, so he can go through layers, which is quite wonderful. If you see a yellow balloon here, we're going to pop it down into nothing. So putting it closer to the front of the map can end up being a powerful addition to your team. As far as his upgrades go, he's got sort of a Spike Factory-esque type upgrade here that can kind of pop balloons as they walk onto the screen, but because it's random, it can end up being not quite as powerful as you want it to be. And he's got trees, which can absorb balloons and all the way up into Moab-class balloons here, and then it pops out money after everything is said and done. It's a really cool upgrade and very helpful, but still a little bit difficult to use properly. Etienne is our first paid hero, or Monkey Money paid hero in the game that we're going to show off today. And I am going in order in which way we see them in the game, not from when they actually came out. Hopefully that's okay. He is actually the most recent hero that has been added to the game, and possibly one of the last. I'm not sure that they're going to be adding very many more heroes to the game. He's got drones that kind of fly around and pop the balloons, so just following them all over the place and doing a good amount of damage here overall. But the drones end up being not quite as powerful as you'd like them to be most of the time, until you end up using his abilities here, which do come back quite a bit. So his drones can end up kind of following these guys and get 6, 7, even 8 more drones than you probably imagined that he should have. They can follow these guys around and do tons of regular damage. In addition, his second ability is this UAV or UCAV. It's a combat drone that can end up shooting out tons of missile damage all over the place. You can see how that really ends up adding up here to doing a lot of extra damage. It's a little bit difficult to use sometimes, and it doesn't have a super duper fast cooldown, but it's still very powerful when you do end up using it properly. One additional thing that's kind of important for Etienne is that one of his general abilities is that he gives every single tower in the entire game camo detection. So powering up a lot of random towers that don't have camo detection automatically can be a great benefit to your team. Tank Monkey! We're talking about Captain Churchill here, guys. Technically one of the most powerful heroes in the game because he costs the most. He should be the best, right? Well, that's what we're going to find out for you guys today. He's got a great overall power to him. He's got a machine gun. He's got an extra cannon blast coming out over here. He gets quick camo detection as well, and he's got some great abilities to go along with it. You pay a premium price, but you get a premium tower when you have him in the game. The only issue with him is that he does get experience fairly slowly, and getting him up to levels 15, 17, 18, and 20 is going to be fairly difficult in a regular game, even all the way up to round 100. His abilities are, again, quite wonderful. This is a barrage that ends up just literally owning any balloons on the screen, destroying ceramics, does extra damage to Moab, just overall great. His other ability is sort of a Moab barrage. It actually works better if there's many Moabs on the screen that you can use, and it just blows them all up, basically. It does do a certain amount of damage to higher tier Moabs instead of killing them down to nothing, but it's still quite wonderful. Again, you pay a premium price, but you get a fairly premium tower. Benjamin! Here he is, Benjamin, guys. Another paid hero in the game. He's actually one of the weirdest heroes in the entire game, because he does not directly pop any balloons whatsoever. You might be wondering, what does that do? Does that do anything? No, not really. Not in its current state. It does literally nothing. He's, again, one of the weirdest heroes in the game. I may be biased against it, but I like having my hero pop things. He's all about the support, though. That's what he does. He makes you extra cash, and he makes you extra pops, and that's about it. One of his greatest additions to the team is when you see a Moab-class balloon coming out, he will hack it, basically. And then if you end up popping this guy, it doesn't have any of the balloons inside of it. It's just gone forever. So dealing with ceramics and stuff like that can be quite wonderful. One issue with this is that it actually gives you less money. It doesn't give you the money that the ceramics would have gotten you by popping this guy. So that's definitely a fairly large issue with him. But because he's making you money every single round, he ends up being quite wonderful. Now, he's got two abilities here, and I'm actually going to read them out loud so I don't end up messing them up here, all right? Because they're a little bit complicated, all right? Biohack, the 4 closest monkeys pop an extra layer per attack for 6 seconds, and affected monkeys can attack for 2 seconds after it ends. Basically, powering up your monkeys for a little bit, but then it has a small delay period where you're not powering up the monkeys. It's a good and a bad upgrade. And then you've got Siphon Funding, which downgrades most newly spawned balloons by 1 rank, but then you get more cash from the affected balloons. It's doubled, and it lasts 10 seconds. It's a very, very weird upgrade, but it ends up sort of making you more cash if you use it properly, but if you don't use it right, it can make you less cash. So it's a very, very difficult upgrade to understand, and that's why Benjamin's actually very, very complicated, but still a fairly wonderful hero, depending on who you ask. Zeely is the first hero in our loadout that has 3 abilities that they can use in their game, and they're also one of the most interesting heroes in the game. They just got buffed recently, so they are more powerful in a very odd way. Going to be buffing a certain tower in particular, and it kind of makes sense. The unpopped army, she kind of looks like a Deathbringer with her really weird totem looking staff there and everything, but she's honestly a very weird hero. She does do damage to these balloons over time, in addition to doing damage already. So if you, it's hard to tell, but we might be able to send out a few of these guys and put her on last here. You just sort of see it actually pops layers after the fact, and she does groups damage as well. So just kind of a weird addition to the team. As far as the abilities go, they're very, very weird. What you can do is, if you want to, you can sacrifice lives to be a stronger, stronger loadout for everybody. This is going to be a totem that's going to make everybody in its range shoot faster, be more powerful. I don't remember all the details, but just generally more powerful. Barely ever use it. Some people might want to use this. Honestly, I'm a don't sacrifice lives kind of guy. There's also the ability to get rid of all regen balloons on the screen, which I'll be honest with you guys, doesn't really matter all that much for me. I don't know if it matters for you guys, but I'm not using this all the time. They don't regen anymore, so you can end up popping them quite easily. The last ability, though, is quite wonderful. If you send out a bunch of BFBs, for example, who use this Moab ability, you're going to start damaging it already, and then as it gets damaged, it's going to start to delete all the balloons, very similar to Benjamin, on the inside, and kind of move on to the next BFB over here. So we actually popped 2 BFBs with no balloons in there, and all 4 BFBs just got killed by a Zealy with 1 single hex. What? 2 Dart Monkeys and a Zealy just took down 4 BFBs with nothing? That is why she ends up being good. Late game, you take down tons of Zomagods, tons of BFBs, just sort of be a slicer that just deletes a lot of the extra balloons in the game. Quite possibly the derpiest hero in the game. We've got Pat Fusty. Pat is a fun hero to use. I really enjoy him. Overall, I think he's the most fun, but maybe not necessarily the best hero. What he does is he's got a very, very, very short range, so his position is going to be extremely important. He's a hand-attacking hero, literally using his Fists of Fury to destroy these balloons over here. His 2 abilities are going to end up powering up towers around him, basically. You've got the first ability which powers up the towers around him, giving him more overall popping power. All right, quite nice, but nothing ridiculous. If you use it properly, though, it can be a good addition to your team, but not amazing. As far as his regular attack goes, it does do damage as well. A lot of these guys are to do damage for us. So you're going to see 3 layers of balloons going to go down, and he's got the ability to smack back balloons and smack back Moabs, which I think is probably the most important aspect of Pat right here. Smacking back Moabs gives us a lot more time to pop these guys. Even on round 40 here, you can see Pat basically soloing round 40, but as a level 10 hero, which he'll be doing all around the board. He's also got the ability to hug higher class balloons. So we send out something like a Zomagod. You're going to see once he gets in range, I'm clicking the ability this entire time here. You're going to see once it gets in range, or at least close to being in range, we can finally hug this balloon. And we're going to delete it down into the next layer of balloons. Use Pat's ability again. Again, he's going to be quite powerful against these guys, but still nothing amazing. You can hug, but when you do hug, it's actually partially a negative because you stop doing your regular hand attacks to hug. And usually it means I stay away from that ability almost entirely. You have to time it properly or use it properly, else it ends up being actually a negative aspect to your team. Adora, definitely one of the sexiest heroes in the game, for sure. She's got a very, very wonderful long-range attack, a pretty solid range over here. Slowly gets stronger over time, but also levels up very slowly. Getting her up to level 20 is not going to be an easy feature. Her 2 abilities are quite fantastic. Going to give you extra range, I believe extra speed, extra damage, just everything is just kind of all over better. You can also pop purple balloons, which is your weakness in the first place, when you use your ability, kind of giving you almost no weaknesses for a little while as Adora. And she pop everything but camo balloons. Her second ability is to sacrifice other towers, basically earning you experience by selling these other towers. It's really weird. It's better than spending the next level up. You definitely never, ever, ever want to buy this. If you're going to do anything, you definitely want to build something, get it up to a decent amount of money spent, and then you can sacrifice it. And by doing that, you're going to get a lot of extra experience here. I think it ends up being about 3 times the amount, 3 times the amount of experience that you get by buying the levels compared to using that ability instead. And you're never going to run out of the ability to sacrifice. Your third ability is actually probably the best out of all of them. It's a really cool yellow ball that flies around you here and does massive quantities of damage to these balloons. You can see great damage here overall, and it gets powerful over time, more powerful over time. It definitely works better against Moab-class balloons and such because you can hit them from a distance and do direct Moab damage. You can see how much damage we're doing to Moab-class balloons here. We can take that Moab down, no problem at all. Admiral Brickle is our only true water hero. What she can do is quite interesting. She's got some really cool abilities here. They end up being just goofy overall, though. What she can do is she can power up all water heroes, including herself here, for a limited amount of time. And if you have a good amount of water towers, if you're playing on a big water map, this can end up being very, very powerful. But it does force you to kind of go kind of heavy on the water towers if you end up doing this. She's also got a mine, which can end up popping only Moab-class balloons, by the way. But it heat-seeks the Moab-class balloons, explodes, and does damage to all Moabs around you. The Moab mine's a little bit weird because it can end up being quite powerful, but also it can be a negative aspect to your team because you might damage too many big-class balloons first, and too many small-class balloons might just run through your defense if not used properly. It's weird. And it does do a lot of damage, but again, it could be a negative asset to your team. It's a very fun hero, but she is a little bit difficult to use, I would say. Coming in at number 5. We're finally starting a list here, guys, and we have to get going with our list. I know I've been spending a lot of time talking about these individual heroes, because I want you guys to understand kind of where these heroes are going and what we're basing our information on. So I wanted to give you guys a quick little rundown if you don't know anything about the heroes, so you can kind of make a good understanding for yourself. But Striker Jones is gotta be on our list because he is the best support tower in the game if you're gonna go for cannons and mortars, guys, which is a very solid and reasonable strategy to use. He can help you win almost any game just by spamming literally cannons, mortars, and maybe a few dart monkeys or something. He is fantastic, all right? So he's got to come in at number 5 on our list just because of all those random buffs he gives us. If we send out something like, I don't know, around 98 with just a few extra guys in here. Get a couple of these guys, and we're going to get a bunch of Moab Maulers, which is actually one of the most valid strategies in the game, which is to spam Moab Maul base. Moab Maulers just kind of all around us here, and you will own, like, almost everything. It's honestly kind of ridiculous here. So let's set up round 98, and let's see what he can do. So don't forget, he's got these stuns. You can stun big chunks of Moabs. We can use our ability here to kind of get our abilities back almost, if we're feeling it. And we just keep these Bloons stunned. And look at this, man. We're not even doing anything ridiculous here. And we're just absolutely owning these rounds, man. I mean, yes, we do have a 5th-tier tower here, but it's not the most insane 5th-tier tower in existence. It's just a Bloons incineration. It's like 50 grand. It's good, but it's not amazing. And we're taking these guys down with a breeze. And that's why he's going to come in our list. Even though he himself is not the most powerful tower in the game, his support aspect just makes him freaking amazing. Coming in at number 4 on our list is gotta be Obyn. Obyn's one of the weirdest heroes in the game. He's got a little bit of weaknesses with purple Bloons and stuff, even at level 20, so he's not all powerful, but everything else about him just makes him such a powerful, powerful hero. By himself, he is pretty fantastic, but once you combine him with a couple other magic monkeys, which is his main thing, you can notice we got 2 Obyn buffs on this guy. And we've got this totem, which slows the Bloons down on top of us. If we just buy a single Avatar of Wrath, and this is not a good strategy, by the way. You're going to see how much damage we can do at around 98. Combining these guys together ends up being one of the best things you can do, man. Seriously. Just trust me on that. There's no alchemist here. There's no nothing here. And just with these guys alone... Oh, man, I didn't even get Thorn Swarm here. Holy crap. Just with these 2 guys alone, we're doing an epically amazing job against round 98 here. And that's without getting any extra bonuses from our Druid stuff, guys. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is even less expensive than the Bloons incineration we used on the with Striker Jones, and we can still take down round 98 with no. We didn't get no lives lost, but it was really close without powering up our Druid any more than he currently is. So his support aspect is what really makes him the most powerful, one of the most powerful heroes in the game. But don't forget, he himself is not bad either. And coming in at number 3 in our list is Pat Fusty. Pat Fusty is a fantastic hero. You combine him with things that have a lot of projectiles, he's going to end up being that much more powerful. Great in addition with attack zone and, you know, other kind of high projectile thingamabobs. And then, of course, he can stun Moabs and just do a great job overall. Once you use your ability, you're going to see where this guy's really going to start to own these guys. This is attack zone without an alchemist, without that extra primary village, and this is how well we're doing on round 98. The amount of money that we spent here is absolutely finite. It's not high at all, and this is the damage we're doing around 98, taking out pretty much all Moab layers and still dealing with a lot of these ceramics underneath that as well. Combine it with a couple other towers here, and you're going to have a fantastic team. Coming in at number 2 on our list has got to be Adora. I love Adora. She's a seriously fantastic hero here. She's not as great in the late game. I'll be honest with you guys. She does lose her edge quite a bit. But one of the best combos in the game is definitely get an early game Alchemist, Ninja, Adora, and you will own almost everything up until around like 55 or something like that. Getting that kind of extra cash flow going, so you can spread it on farms, or villages, or buffs, or save up for a 5th-tier tower, is absolutely insane. And I have to go with Adora mostly because of this combo right here, even before she's level 20 though. But even then, further than that, if you want to, you can do weird things like this. We're going to send out round 98 just because that's what I've been doing lately. But I don't think she's going to be that powerful against these guys. Even though she's good, she's not going to be that powerful against these guys compared to the other ones. But she's still a fantastic, fantastic hero to have in your game here, guys. I love her. She's great. We can end up using her abilities here. Can we do it? Oh, no, you're going to see. Even with a Grandmaster Ninja and an Alchemist here, we are still struggling at least a little bit here against these Bloons. Oh, my. Oh, my. And we do. Oh, no sacrifice. No sacrifice. There we go. Get a ball of fire. Take him down. And we do a great job with our ball of fire here at the end. And that's why Adora still comes in at number 2, because she does fall off a little bit in the late game, even though she's very powerful in the early and mid game. And coming in at number 1, you've got to go for Captain Churchill. He is by far, by himself, the most powerful hero in the game. Like, by far. Yeah, we just ended up around 98 here. By himself. I mean, you spent $2,000 on him, and this is what he can do. I mean, of course, he's not going to level up this fast because he's going to level up the same speed as Adora, but it doesn't mean he's bad. I mean, he is a fantastic hero. Once you use this barrage and everything, you're going to realize, wow, this guy is a powerhouse. What? I mean, we're not like owning round 98, but like we're in the game against round 98 by ourselves. What? You combine this guy with a couple other heroes in here, and you're going to have a great team. Again, $2,000 on this guy. That is nothing when you're talking about the money in BTD6 here. Help us out so much here. So this guy's very, very powerful, but of course, because he levels up a little bit slow, he does end up having a few issues here. He ends up being a little bit weak in the early game because you have to save up that whopping $2,000 to get him. And then you have to make sure that he actually levels up properly. If he's not up to level 6 or 7 by the time you hit Camo Bloons, if you're not up to minigun by the time you hit round 40 for the Moab class Bloon, he could be a little bit of a waste of money, or at least not as powerful as you want him to be at that point. So he's a great hero for late game. He's great for mid game, but a little bit in the early game, he can be a struggle to save up that money, and it can be a struggle to spend that much money when you're not getting a huge return on your investment right away. It takes time for him to level up, and it takes time to get him going in here. And that's why he's number 1 on the list, because he's still a fantastic hero late game, fantastic hero mid game, and still is very usable in the early game if you do it properly. That's something I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed, and if you guys have any other ideas on what your top 5 heroes are, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Of course, this is my own personal list, so if you disagree with anything, that's completely fine. I will not hate you. I do not disagree with you. This is not set in stone. Everybody gets to do something to use their top 5 heroes whenever they feel like it, and these are my top 5 heroes. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, have a super duper delicious day.